Welcome. I'm Dr. Abha, and welcome to another installment of Culinary Karma. Today I'm excited to share with you Chana Masala or chole. It's very popular in the north of India, like in Punjab or Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, northern cities and states. It's basically curried chickpeas, and the basis will be garlic, tomatoes, and ginger. We will have innumerable spices that are dancing around in the chickpeas, and it really becomes a flavor explosion in your mouth. So let's get started. So I'm going to go ahead and take quite a healthy amount of garlic cloves, if you will, probably about 10, because we're going to be making 2.5 cups soaked garbanzo beans, which will at least double in quantity when we're done. So let's go ahead and churn this. I've also got about 1 inch of ginger. So you'll often see in recipes 1 inch of ginger. And what that really means is taking the entire stalk or piece that you have, you want about 1 inch in length. So that's about this much. And it sounds like a large sum, but it will go very well in chana. All right, we've just ground some garlic and ginger. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to take oil. So I've got a hot instant pot. And to it, I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of oil. And because the instant pot is hot, I can go ahead and add aromatics or spices from my masala dan, my culinary passport. Let's go ahead and take whole cumin seeds, 1 and 2, and another ½ teaspoon. I'm making 2.5 cups of dried garbanzo beans, so I'm going to take a teaspoon of cumin seeds per cup, okay? I'm going to go ahead and put a teaspoon of turmeric in there. Just about ½ a teaspoon of Kashmiri lal mirch, or that ground red chili powder, a teaspoon of ground coriander, and I'm going to go ahead and put a teaspoon of ground roasted cumin, okay? I'm also going to go ahead and add those ground up garlic and ginger that we put together. Now, I'm not going to be using onion inside of my chana today. We'll garnish our chana chickpea masala with onions, but I'm not going to put it in the base, okay? So to recap, I have my dry spices. I have about 8 to 10 cloves of garlic, a good inch of ginger, both of which were ground together. And to the instant pot, I'm sauteing my masalas as well as that mixture, okay? So let's let that saute just a little bit. In the meantime, I'm going to show you what happens to garbanzo beans when they're soaked. This is the initial caliber of a garbanzo bean, okay? So very tiny. And then when you allow it to be soaked from 4 to 10 hours, so overnight would be great, notice how it at least doubles in size all the way around. Now, if you don't have time to pre-soak the garbanzo beans, it's okay. What you might do is take the dry bean and soak it in hot water for at least an hour. If you're using canned garbanzo beans, make sure you always wash them first. And for the purposes of preparation, go ahead and take 2 cans, rinsed and washed, and the amount of water we cook in will vary, and I'll discuss that. But you have options: dry garbanzo beans soaked overnight or quickly for an hour in hot water, or a can of garbanzo beans. I'm going to go ahead and liberate the water in which the garbanzo beans soaked overnight. All right, we're also going to add a cup of crushed tomatoes per cup of garbanzo beans. So in this case, because we're using 2.5 cups, I've got 2.5 cups of crushed tomatoes that I'm adding to that saute mixture. So let's let that saute and cook together. Allow all of those flavors to marry well, and maybe even thicken a little bit before we add our garbanzo beans. We're going to add some dry spices to this gorgeous mixture as well. I'm going to take a stick of cinnamon, bay leaf, about ½ a teaspoon of black peppercorns, and a ¼ teaspoon of cloves. Now, it essentially becomes the equivalent of garam masala in its original state, and it's just going to add an incredible aromatic flair to this mixture, okay? We're also going to go ahead and add chana masala. Now, chana masala is a mixture of about 8 to 10 spices, to include coriander, cumin, amchur, which is dry mango powder, salt, black pepper, all kinds of spices. For every cup of garbanzo, we're gonna do a tablespoon of the spice mixture, that Chana Masala mixture. We're gonna go ahead and add salt. We're gonna do a teaspoon of salt for every cup of garbanzo. So again, 2.5 teaspoons of salt will go into this, in addition to the masala mixture I just described. And let's go ahead and add the hero and the star of this entire dish, and it's gonna be the washed 2.5 cups of garbanzo beans. And come on inside and watch the sauce and the beans marry well together. It's really eye-popping and mouth-watering already. Now, we are gonna need 1.5 cups of water for every cup of garbanzo beans. So that's gonna be 3 3/4 cups of water today, because again, I'm using 2.5 cups of beans. We're going to have this mixture cook on high pressure for 36 minutes. We'll let it naturally pressure release for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then we'll open the lid and reveal an absolutely decadent chana masala ready to be indulged. All right, now for the unveiling. I'm gonna go ahead and release the valve. As soon as the floating valve collapses, we can open it up. Okay, let's peer inside. And I'm really loving what I'm seeing. These garbanzo beans are nicely mashed. And so to this, and you can see that it has a light brown hue right now, and that's about to change. We're going to add a teaspoon of tamarind per cup of garbanzo beans. And because we started with 2.5 cups, I'm going to add 2.5 teaspoons of tamarind, and watch this color transform. Now, if you've never worked with tamarind, it's very pasty, it's very thick, it's very tart and dark. It imparts a very different hue when you're cooking, and you can see that. It almost has the viscosity of molasses, and actually even thicker than molasses. It's very, very thick, not a syrup at all. Now I'm gonna take a little taste, because imagine we can still adjust flavors with salt, a little more chana masala, whatever might be necessary. So I'm gonna take a little taste, and this is exceptionally hot. Oh wow. So many flavors popping through. The roof of my mouth is capturing the gorgeous spice that comes from the chana masala. I'm gonna add a little more salt, maybe a little more tamarind, but what a delightful curried chickpea dish. I'm gonna go ahead and assemble my plate, and we're gonna taste this together. So were you to join me in Delhi, in the streets and the bazaars of India, we would go to a dhaba, a hole in the wall, and we'd order up some chana and possibly bhatura or puri. And today we're going to use naan, which is equally sensational, where the pairing of our curried chickpeas with a bread is concerned. I've got a spoon. I'm going to go ahead and taste the chana. I'm greeted with a perfume of spices. There's so many beautiful, delicious, warm, bouncing aromatic spices currying this garbanzo bean or chickpea dish. It's absolutely delicious, and it's a winner. I'm going to take a piece of my naan and dip it in. Perfect. In India, we like our raw onions. We also adore our chutneys. I'm going to pair this with a tamarind or sweet chutney. Put that right in there. It's absolutely fantastic. I invite you to join me every week as I celebrate the culinary diversity of beautiful India. I'm Dr. Abha. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Culinary Karma, One Dish at a Time with Dr. Abha. And if you like it, give me a thumbs up and please spread the word. I enjoy presenting this to you as often as I can, and your likes take me a long way. Yours in health.